Before the superhero genre exploded onto our screens and timelines, Project Superpowers was quietly reshaping what legacy and justice meant in comics. In this gripping return, Volume 3 pulls no punches, kicking off with a shattered, death-defying devil dragging the past into the present and showing Green Llama visions of a grim, war-torn future. Can the world's forgotten champions rise again? Can they even work together? Written by Rob Williams, with art that leaps off the page with Sergio Dávila, and colors that burn with mood and energy from Philidius Beobastis, this isn't just a reboot, it's a resurrection. And with legends like Black Terror, Samson, and Masquerade returning to the front lines, the stakes have never been higher. If you think you've seen every superhero comeback story, think again. Let's dive into this explosive reawakening and uncover the secret behind Dynamite's bold, beautiful revival. When magician Green Llama gets an unexpected visit from what remains of the death-defying devil, he is shown visions of his past and a harrowing future where the Earth is once again in peril. Project Superpowers need to reform once again to fight this blight. Can a team with this much history overcome their obstacles and prove their worth and value in a world that desperately needs its heroes? The death-defying devil, Samson, Black Terror, Masquerade, Green Llama, and Scarab are more than ready to be born again. This introductory story leads readers right into the all-new Project Superpowers #1, released in August of 2018. Project Superpowers was a comic book limited series published by Dynamite beginning in 2008. It was co-plotted and written by Jim Krueger and Alex Ross, with covers by Alex Ross. The story is set in a present-day world that is different from our own. It is implied that the absence of the world's heroes allowed the United States to become a virtual dictatorship, with the Dynamic Forces Corporation manipulating world events for the sake of order and profit. The police corps consists of armored officers who show no mercy. Wars are being waged for nothing more than business reasons, and even free speech is heavily restricted. The series resurrects a number of Golden Age superheroes originally published by companies including Fox Comics, Crestwood Publications, and Nador Comics, many of whom are in the public domain, including the protagonist, Fighting Yank. In 2018, a new series written by Rob Williams and penciled by Sergio Dávila ran for 7 issues. Williams' first written work, Class War, was published by Com.X. The series was read by Andy Diggle, who was editor of 2000 AD. The two then collaborated on a number of comics, including Asylum and Lowlife. Williams wrote several series and one-offs from Marvel, including the 2006 Wolverine Christmas special, Dark X-Men The Beginning, and a Captain Britain story in Deadpool Team-Up. Williams has also written comics based on a number of intellectual properties, including stories for Star Wars for Dark Horse and RoboCop for Dynamite. Artist Sergio Dávila is well known for his sequential cover art and his traditional pencil work. Sergio has worked on many renowned titles for Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Dynamite, and IDW Publishing. Some of the books he has worked on include Wonder Woman, Superman, Eternal Descent, and Red Sonja. The cover artist for this issue was Francesco Mattina. Mattina has created covers for Marvel and DC for series such as Spider-Man 2099, Venom, Suicide Squad, and Batman. He has also created promotional materials for Marvel Studios for blockbuster movies including Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, and Spider-Man Homecoming. Madrid-based artist Philidius colored this issue. Philidius is a freelance illustrator, designer, and writer known for his imaginative, surreal style, blending fantasy and whimsy. His work spans children's books, character design, and concept art, often featuring rich detail and dreamlike worlds. Philidius' unique visual voice captures audiences of all ages across various media. Speaking exclusively to Read the Freakin' Comics about this issues, he said, "I recall that this comic book had no inks, so I had to color directly over Sergio's pencils. That was a challenge for sure. I had to paint with darker tones, but thanks to the excellent artwork of Sergio, that organic look ended working well." Simon Bolin lettered this issue. By that point in his career, he had been lettering comics for 14 years and had worked for publishers such as 2000 AD, Marvel, DC, Image, Valiant, Dark Horse, and TKO Studios. For Dynamite Entertainment, Bolin lettered such titles as Red Sonja, Battlestar Galactica, and Painkiller Jane. Joseph Rybrand and Anthony Marquez edited this issue. Rybrand got involved in editing in the mid-1990s, working for Gemstone Publishing as a research editor and later as a staff writer. After joining Dynamite in 2006, he worked on Army of Darkness, The Boys, Wheel of Time, and Zorro. Nowadays, Anthony Marquez is known more as a professor than comic editor, but in 2018 he was working at Dynamite Entertainment, editing such titles as Red Sonja, Army of Darkness, Green Hornet, and more. He later became an instructor at the Kubert School before eventually becoming president and owner of the institution. There he works with instructors to usher in the next generation of comic book creators. This issue features several members of Project Superpowers in supporting roles, who would go on to have a larger presence in the miniseries. This includes Bruce Carter III, aka the Fighting Yank. First appearing in Startling Comics in 1941, the Fighting Yank was created by Richard E. Hughes and artist John L. Blummer. 1941 was a boom period for patriotic superheroes as the United States was preparing to enter World War II. In 1994, AC Comics reprinted some of the original Fighting Yank adventures. The company then revived the character for a short period of time. In the comics, Bruce Carter III obtains his superhuman powers when a ghost of his ancestor appears before him and shows him the location of a magical cloak that could give the wearer invulnerability and super strength. There's also Robert Benton, also known as Black Terror, published by Nador in Exciting Comics in 1941. The character proved popular, so Nador made Exciting Comics a monthly magazine starting with issue number 11. Similar to the Fighting Yank, the character had been used by several publishers over the years, including AC Comics, First Comics, Dark Line, and several more. In the comics, pharmacist Robert Benton formulated a chemical he called formic ethers, which gave him various superpowers. You also have Ralph Payne, aka The Arrow, first appearing in 1938 by Centaur Publications. They later went out of business in 1942. The Arrow, along with most other company properties, lapsed into the public domain. The Arrow was briefly revived by Malibu Comics in 1992. The character has been dormant after Marvel acquired Malibu, although some of his Golden Age adventures were reprinted by AC Comics. In the comics, Ralph Payne is a military intelligence agent who uses his archery skills to fight crime. You also have Archibald Masters, aka American Crusader. Originally appearing in Thrilling Comics in 1941 by Better Publications, the character was revived in the modern age in Femforce by AC Comics. A version of this character was used in the DC Multiversity series from 2014. In the comics, Archibald Masters accidentally gets caught in a room with a device called an Atom Smasher. Instead of killing him, the accident blasted him with radiation, which endowed him with various superhuman abilities. There's also Diana Adams, aka Miss Mask, appearing first in Exciting Comics number 51 from September 1946 by Nador Comics. The character later appears in AC Comics and America's Best Comics. For this revival of the character, Dynamite renamed her Masquerade. Finally, we have Samson. Samson was originally published by Fox Features in 1939 in titles like Big, Fantastic Comics, and his own self-titled miniseries. Samson is a direct descendant of the biblical Samson. Like his ancestor, Samson has immense strength and endurance, but loses his powers when his hair is cut. Samson's eyes were melted from his head by the atomic bomb that exploded over Nagasaki, Japan. This issue is not the first comic to portray superheroes mixed in with the events of D-Day, which occurred on June 6, 1944. Others include Marvel's Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos #1 from 1963. This first issue follows Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos as they storm Nazi fortifications on D-Day. Or there's the Ultimates Annual #1 from 2005 that shows Captain America's involvements in the D-Day landings. Another is Weapon X, Days of Future Now, #1-5 from 2005. That run is a dystopian reworking of timelines involving the Weapon X program. There's a subplot where Wolverine reflects on covert ops during the Normandy invasion. DC also included Superman into D-Day in a Superman issue from 1985 that tells an alternate history where Superman is transported back in time to June 6, where he must carefully intervene in the Normandy landings without altering the course of history. Indie publisher Avatar Press had a title called Uber, which ran from 2013 to 2017. The comic was a hardcore alternate history where Nazis unleash battleships, which are humans mutated into godlike superhumans. The Allies respond with their own super soldiers. D-Day is completely transformed from a historical invasion to a horrifying clash of enhanced beings. In relaunching Project Superpowers for the second time, Rob Williams does exactly what is needed to whet the appetite of the casual reader and seasoned fan alike. Both main characters are introduced with memorable scenes, and the main plot device is explained expertly as the story unfolds. We are given a quick recap of the past, where our heroes are, and what's at stake in the future if they don't take action. The art here is bold, colorful, and stylish without distracting from itself. The lines are clean and well managed. Sergio Dávila uses 100% of the space provided to tell a visual tale with as little exposition needed. How can you capture the feel of D-Day in a single panel? Dávila pulls this off successfully here. A big shout out to Felidius for the colors in this issue. They are wonderful. Prices for this issue vary, but are mostly in the $10 to $20 range. Dynamite itself is selling a copy for $20, while I see two on eBay from $10 to $15. Pricecharting.com has near mint issues of this comic going for $17.50. Dynamite was founded by Nick Barucci in Mount Laurel, New Jersey in 2004. Their main stock in trade was comic book adaptations of films like Army of Darkness, Terminator, and RoboCop. They also use characters from the public domain like Zorro, Dracula, and Sherlock Holmes. Dynamite has also worked with creator-owned titles such as The Boys, and have worked with other creators like Alex Ross, Garth Ennis, and Frank Miller. In 2016, they partnered with DC Comics to release Wonder Woman 77 Meets the Bionic Woman, and saw major success in 2019 when Sony Pictures Television and Amazon Studios premiered an adapted television series of The Boys for Amazon Prime Video. In October of 2023, Dynamite announced a deal with Warner Bros. Discovery to create a new line of comics based on various properties, including Space Ghost, Johnny Quest, and Thundercats. Thundercats #1 went on to sell over 170,000 copies. 2018 was a banner year for comic sales. Total comics and graphic novel sales for America alone were roughly $1.1 billion, an $80 million increase in sales year over year. Sales of all three formats, comics, graphic novels, and digital, grew in 2018, with graphic novels leading the way. The increase was due to gains in book channels and digital sales, and the inclusion of an estimate for US and Canada sales through crowdfunding sites for the first time. Dynamite held a 1.73% of all units sold that year, and a 1.86 market share in terms of dollars. The market was full of publishers and imprints. No less than 10 were fighting for supremacy that year. Of the 1,000 comics tracked by Comichron.com, Dynamite's only title to make the list was Elvira, Mistress of the Dark #1, selling 26,000 units. It is listed as the 997th top comic in terms of units, and number 853 in terms of revenue. This issue doesn't feature many ads, but the highlight is a preview of variant covers for issue #1. We have variants from Francesco Mattia, Ed Benes, John Royal, Philip Tan, J.G. Jones, Steven Segovia, and Sergio Dávila himself. These all look really stunning. Dynamite was also promoting the Volume 1 omnibus of Project Superpowers with an incredible Alex Ross cover. They also promoted Amy Chu's Red Sonja Volume 3 and the Vampirella Deja Thoris crossover, plus Cemetery Girl, Swords of the Swashbucklers, and James Bond Origin, with covers by the late John Cassidy. Meanwhile, Warner Bros. Were promoting Teen Titans and Static Shock on DVD and Blu-ray. Since some of the action in this comic takes place in France, I decided to look for an interesting comic shop in Paris. If you are in the area, I recommend you check out Pop Culture Shop Comics, located at 23 Rue Keller in Paris, France, or check them out at popcultureshop.fr. Thanks for checking out this video. If you want to see more, please hit like and subscribe. If you have suggestions for comics you want me to deep dive into, please leave a comment below. Please help and support real artists. AI is great for a lot of things, but not for creating art and replacing artists. Thank you.